The arrival of the sound came first. A deep hum, like the heart of a giant machine, filled the darkness. Captain Elara woke up slowly, her mind heavy as if it had been underwater. She tried to move, but cold metal cut into her wrists. Her hands were locked above her head. The air smelled sharp, like burnt wires. Her eyes adjusted to the dim light. She was in a narrow cell, the walls smooth and black. Strange lines glowed faintly, pulsing with a slow rhythm, almost like they were breathing. And then she felt it dot the collar. A wide band of alien metal wrapped tight around her neck. It was warm, almost alive, and with every red pulse from the tiny crystal in front, a jolt of pain crawled down her spine. She gasped and tried to pull at it, but her fingers barely reached. The moment she touched it, the pain doubled. She bit, her lip to stop from screaming. A sound came from outside, heavy boots on metal. Not human boots. These steps were too heavy, too slow, like the owner was carrying the weight of a mountain. Elara's heart raced. She had seen many alien species during her missions as a captain, but these footsteps, she knew they belonged to the VUR single quotes KAZ, about the slavers. The cell door didn't open, but she heard voices outside. The alien language was full of deep growls and sharp clicks. She could only understand a few words from her training, but two of them made her blood run cold. Human and nightfall. The voices faded, and the footsteps moved away. Elara tried to think. She had been on a diplomatic mission near the Kuro's belt. Her ship, the Asterion, had been attacked without warning. A bright light had swallowed the bridge. Then, nothing. No fight. No time to resist. Just darkness. And now, here, the collar throbbed again. She felt weaker than before. It wasn't just hurting her. It was draining her. Then, a whisper got it first. She thought it was in her head. But the sound came again, soft and urgent, from somewhere above. Don't move. Look up. She tilted her head. There's a small vent near the ceiling. Two faint lights shone behind the mesh. Eyes. Human eyes. Who? Her voice cracked, dry and low. The whisper cut her off. No questions. You have hours before that collar kills you. Her breath caught. What is it doing to me? It's stealing you, the voice said. Your memories, your life. By morning, there will be nothing left. Elara's hands curled into fists. Then take it off. A pause. If I do it wrong, it will kill you instantly. She stared at the vent. So I'm dead either way? Another pause. The eyes blinked slowly. Not if you trust me. She wanted to laugh. Trust? In a stranger she had never seen, trapped on an alien prison ship? The idea was insane. But she felt her strength slipping, like sand running through her fingers. Every moment wasted brought her closer to the end. The hum of the ship grew louder for a second, then faded again. Somewhere far away, metal slammed shut. The place was alive with danger. Who are you? She asked. My name is Kael, he whispered. I've been here for 7 years. 7 years. That meant he knew the ship, the guards, maybe even a way out. But it also meant he had seen others die, people who probably had the same collar. How many survived? She asked. Kael's silence was answer enough. The red crystal on her collar flashed faster, like it could sense her panic. The pain returned, sharp and deep. Her knees buckled, and only the chains kept her from falling. She bit back a cry. Listen to me, Kael said, his voice harder now. They call it the collar of obedience. It's not meant to keep you alive. It's meant to empty you. Elara forced her head up. Then why am I still alive? You're new, Kael said. They want to break you slowly. The word break sank into her chest like ice. She closed her eyes, forcing herself to breathe. What do you need to take it off? I need you to hold still, Kael said. And I need you to trust that I know what I'm doing. Before she could answer, another sound cut through the air. The heavy footsteps were back. This time closer. The glow from under the cell door grew brighter. The guards were coming. Decide now, Kael hissed. Elara's mind raced. If she let him try, she could die instantly. If she didn't, the collar would drain her before dawn. Either way, she wasn't getting out of here alive without doing something. The door hissed, the locks turning. She looked up at the vent, locking eyes with Kael. Do it. The moment the word left her lips, a metal tool slid through the vent, thin and sharp like a surgeon's instrument. Kael reached down toward her collar, and then the cell door exploded open. Asterisk the stranger's offer. Door slammed open so hard it rattled the chains above her head. A towering Vurkaz guard stepped inside, ducking under the low frame. His scaled skin was the color of rust, and each breath hissed through sharp, needle-like teeth. The collar around Elara's neck pulsed rapidly, reacting to his presence. Like it knew who commanded it, Kael's tool froze in midair. The vent above her went silent. The guard's eyes scanned the cell, yellow and unblinking. In one clawed hand, he held a metal rod with a glowing tip. Every instinct in Elara screamed that it was meant for pain. The guard didn't speak. He simply walked toward her, the floor groaning under his weight. When he stopped inches away, she could smell the acrid stench of burned ozone clinging to him. Without warning, he raised the rod and pressed it against her collar. Agony ripped through her nerves. Her legs gave out, and her vision swam. She heard herself scream, but the sound felt distant, like it came from someone else's throat. The guard's grin widened, and the red crystal on her collar blazed like a tiny sun god above. Kael moved. The vent cover dropped silently behind the guard. In one smooth motion, Kael landed on his back, driving the thin metal tool into the gap between the guard's armored plates. The alien roared, spinning, claws slashing the air, but Kael was already gone, rolling toward the corner of the cell. The guard stumbled, the wound leaking a thick black fluid. Kael's eyes locked on Elara. Now, he said, voice low but urgent. If I'm going to save you, we do it here, now, while he's down. Elara's chest heaved. You killed him? Kael shook his head. No, that's the problem. The guard was already turning toward them again, slower but no less dangerous. His claws scraped against the walls as he reached for his weapon. Kael crossed the cell in 2 steps, his presence startling in its intensity. Up close, Elara could see the years in his face, the scars, the rough stubble, the eyes that had watched far too many people die. This collar is linked to their command system, he said quickly, hands already working at the back of her neck. If I get it off, you'll have maybe 30 seconds before the whole ship knows you're unbound. Her heart pounded. And if you fail, then you won't live to regret it. The guard lunged. Kael twisted the crystal on the collar, and the world shifted. For a moment, everything went silent. The guard's movement slowed. The hum of the ship dropped to a whisper. Even the pain faded. Then the crystal flashed once, twice, and shattered. The collar fell away. The silence broke. The guard roared louder than before. The lines on the walls lit up with violent white light, alarms howling through the ship. Kael grabbed her wrist. Run! They sprinted into the corridor, the world a blur of steel and shadows. The walls pulsed with warning lights, alien symbols, racing across them. Elara's mind struggled to keep up. Moments ago, she was chained and dying. Now she was free, but in the heart of a ship full of enemies. Kael moved like someone who had memorized every corner, every door. He yanked her into a side tunnel, just as a squad of guards thundered past the main hall. "They'll lock the deck soon," he said between breaths. "Once that happens, there's no escape." "Escape to where?" she demanded. Kael stopped so suddenly, she nearly crashed into him. He turned, his expression unreadable. "Not where," he said. "To when?" Her brow furrowed. "What?" He didn't answer. Instead, he led her through a door that hissed open into a vast chamber. At its center floated a sphere of liquid light, suspended in a web of black metal arms. It shimmered and shifted, as if it were alive. Elara took a step. Closer, the hair on her arms standing on end. The air here felt wrong, too heavy, too still. Kael's voice dropped to a whisper. "This is why they keep humans alive. Collars keep our minds intact until they can feed us into that." She tore her gaze away from the sphere. "What is it?" His eyes met hers. "A time well. It doesn't just steal your life. It rewinds it." Asterisk the failed escape, the sphere pulsed. It wasn't light, not exactly. It was memory. Whole lives shimmered inside, flickering like scenes from 100 different childhoods, battles, and final breaths. Elara saw flashes of Earth, oceans, cities, skies, and then alien worlds she had never set foot on. Her stomach turned. Those are people's lives. Kael's jaw tightened. Everything they've stolen. Every second you ever lived, they can take it apart. Replay it. Rewrite it. Before she could speak, a deep tremor rolled through the chamber. The black arms holding the sphere shifted, angling toward them. A low, rhythmic thump echoed from somewhere far below. The sound of heavy boots, synchronized, coming closer. Kael moved to a control panel, his fingers flying over alien glyphs. "We're out of time. I'm setting a jump point before they..." A blast of air hit them from the corridor. Guards flooded in, not the hulking brutes from before, but faster, leaner Vorkas in black armor. Their eyes glowed with a faint green light, and their weapons hummed like angry insects. Kael swore under his breath. "Enforcers." The lead enforcer pointed at Elara. "Unbound human. Contain." Elara's hand brushed her bare neck. No collar now, but she felt the ghost of it tightening. Her pulse thundered. She looked at Kael, but his focus was locked on the console. "Keep them busy," he said. Her laugh was sharp. "With what? My charming personality?" Kael didn't answer. The enforcers advanced. One leapt forward, too fast for her eyes to follow. Instinct screamed, and she dropped just as the blade passed where her head had been. It hit the metal floor with a screech, spraying sparks. Kael slammed his hand on the panel. The sphere screamed, a sound that wasn't sound, but thought, tearing at the edges of her mind. The metal arms cracked open like insect legs, and the liquid light poured outward in streams, swirling around them. The enforcers froze, their eyes flickering. One of them staggered back, clutching his head as if something inside was breaking. Kael turned toward her, his face pale. "It's reaching for you." Elara stepped back. The streams of light twisted in midair, following her. She felt them brush against her skin, warm at first, then icy, slicing through her like sharp memories she didn't want to remember. Her voice shook. "Kael, what is this?" "The time well," he said. "It recognizes your life. It wants to take it." She looked from him to the sphere and froze. In the swirling light, she saw herself. Not here, not now, but younger, on Earth, laughing under a blue sky she hadn't seen in years. The image shifted to her future. An older version of her, eyes hard, standing in a battlefield of stars. The light surged forward. Kael grabbed her arm. "Move!" They ran. The streams followed, tearing through the metal floor like it was paper. Enforcers tried to block their path, but the light swallowed them, their bodies freezing mid-motion, eyes wide with fear before dissolving into nothing. Kael yanked her into a maintenance shaft, sealing the hatch behind them. The sudden silence was deafening. Elara's breath came in ragged gasps. You weren't trying to destroy it." "No," Kael said. "I was trying to set it to you." She stared at him. "Why?" His eyes locked on hers, and there was something in them she couldn't name. "Because you're the only one it can't erase." A sharp bang hit the hatch, then another. The metal groaned under the weight of something huge. Kael's voice dropped to a whisper. "And they know it." Asterisk the truth about the collars they hatch. Buckled. Each impact made the shaft walls shudder, showering them with dust. Whatever was on the other side wasn't trying to break in fast. It was enjoying the sound of their fear. Kael moved first, crawling deeper into the narrow shaft. "Keep low. Don't touch the blue wires. They'll fry your nerves in less than a second." Elara followed, her muscles burning, but her mind still hooked on his last words. "You're the only one it can't erase." "Explain," she hissed, crawling after him. "Now." Kael didn't turn. "The collars don't just drain life. They scan your neural code, every thought, every memory, your entire self, and store it in the time well. Once they have it, they can rebuild you any way they want." "That's not control," Elara said. "That's rewriting." "That's the point," Kael said. "They take soldiers, leaders, scientists, anyone dangerous to them, and turn them into loyal Vorka's servants. Perfect infiltrators." Her stomach tightened. "So why can't they rewrite me?" Kael stopped crawling. In the dim light, his eyes looked darker. "Because your brain doesn't follow the map." "You're different," Elara frowned. "Different how?" A loud metallic groan cut through the shaft. The hatch behind them tore open. A clawed hand reached in, scraping the walls. Sparks rained down. Kael crawled faster. "Different enough that they've been hunting you for years without you knowing." She almost missed a step. "Years?" "They didn't hit the Asterion. At random, Elara. They came for you." They dropped into a maintenance bay. It was cramped, smelling of oil and burnt circuits. Strange alien machinery lined the walls, half dismantled, wires hanging like veins. Kael locked the hatch above them, then crossed to a covered shape in the corner. He pulled the cover away. Elara stared. It was a chair, but built from the same black metal as the collars. Dozens of cables coiled from its base, each tipped with a needle. At the headrest was a familiar red crystal. "What is that?" she asked. Kael's voice was low. "The first collar. The prototype. This is where they built the template for every one in existence." She stepped closer, drawn to it. Despite herself, the crystal flickered, and for a heartbeat she felt something brush her mind, like cold fingers rifling through a drawer. She staggered back. "It's alive," Kael nodded. "It holds the original code, the one mind they copied into every collar." Elara's breath caught. "Whose?" Kael's gaze didn't waver. "Mine." She stared at him. "You're saying the thing that's been killing humans across the galaxy is you?" His jaw clenched. "A version of me, before I broke free. They used my neural map because I survived the process. I was there. Proof it could work." The pieces began to click in her head. "So if we destroy this," Kael cut her off sharply. "No. If we destroy it, every human mind they've taken will be gone forever. No recovery. No chance to put them back." Her pulse hammered. "So what's the alternative?" Before Kael could answer, the wall opposite them split open with a shriek of tearing metal. A figure stepped through, taller than any guard she'd seen. Its armor was bone white, its face hidden behind a smooth mask. In one hand, it held a long staff tipped with a burning white blade. The voice that came from the mask was calm, almost gentle. Unbound human, step away from the traitor. Kael's eyes narrowed. Don't listen. That's the Prime Warden. He commands the entire Caller network. The Prime Warden tilted its head toward her. You have no idea what you are, Elara. But I can tell you. And if you come with me, I can make you more. Elara's heart pounded, caught between two impossible choices, the man who had freed her, and the enemy who claimed to hold the truth. The Prime Warden extended a hand. Choose. It said ... The human advantage of the Prime Warden's outstretched hand was steady, almost patient, as if it already knew she would take it. The air in the R. Maintenance Bay felt heavy, pressing against Elara's skin. Behind her, Kael's voice was low, almost a growl. Elara? If you touch him, you're done. The Warden tilted its head. And if you stay with him, you die. The words were simple, but they landed like ice water in her veins. Kael moved closer, putting himself between her and the masked giant. You don't understand. It's reading you right now, pulling at your thoughts. Every second you stand there, it learns more. The Warden ignored him. You've felt it, haven't you? How your mind resists the callers. How the time, tried to take you, and failed. Its voice dropped, smooth as oil. That's not resistance. That's compatibility. Elara's heart slammed in her chest. Compatibility with what? The Warden stepped forward, the floor groaning under its weight. With us, with the network, you're not immune. You're the key. A perfect host for the Prime sequence. A bridge between human thought and the Vorka's mind. Kael's eyes widened. No, that's why they've been hunting you. They want to merge with you. The Warden's mask turned toward him. Not merge, evolve. The moment hung like a blade. Then Elara made her choice. She stepped toward. The Warden. Kael swore under his breath. What are you doing? I'm getting answers, she said. You had years to tell me why they wanted me. You didn't. He did. Kael's voice was sharp. Because the truth isn't a weapon you can control. The Warden extended its staff. The burning white blade winked out, leaving only a black rod tipped with a small silver disc. One touch, it said, and you will see everything. Elara reached for it. The moment her fingertips brushed the disc, the world shattered. She wasn't in the maintenance bay anymore. She was standing on a bridge between stars, endless light flowing beneath her feet. Memories swirled around her, not hers, entire lifetimes from thousands of beings, human and alien, all pouring into her mind at once. She saw the Vorkas, homeworld before it burned, their cities glittering under twin suns. She saw the first time they captured a human, the first collar snapping shut, the shock when it didn't kill but transformed. She saw Kael, younger, stepping out of the prototype. Chair, eyes no longer entirely human. Then she saw herself, not here, not now, but in futures that split like shattered glass. In one, she stood at the heart of the Vorkas fleet, commanding it. In another, she tore the network apart, every caller exploding at once. In others, she was something else entirely. Not human, not alien. Both. The vision dissolved. She staggered. Back into the bay, gasping for air. The Warden's voice was calm. Now you understand. You can end us or lead us. No other mind in the galaxy can do either. Kael grabbed her shoulder, spinning her toward him. And you believe that? That thing has rewritten billions of lives. It doesn't want peace. It wants you as its new core. Her pulse thundered. She could still feel the network inside her, like a shadow thought at the back of her mind. And it was listening, not forcing her, waiting. For the first time, she realized she didn't need a collar to control it. She could control it. Elara, Kael said, searching her face. If you connect to it, you might win. But if you lose, there won't be a human race left to save. The warden took another step forward. Then she must decide now. The metal wall behind them split open. Alarms howling, more guards. We're coming. And Elara knew. Whichever path she chose, there was no turning back. The final confrontation. The alarms were deafening now. A pounding, metallic heartbeat echoing through every wall. The Prime Warden's mask turned toward the breach as black-armored enforcers poured in, their weapons raised. The air shimmered. With heat from their energy blades, Kael grabbed Elara's arm. Move! But before he could pull her away, the network inside her mind surged, a rush of alien code flooding her senses. It was like standing in a storm made of voices, every caller in the ship calling out to her at once. Command us. The words weren't spoken. They were felt, and she realized she could. She didn't even have to think, just want, and they would obey. Her body moved before her mind caught up. She turned to the nearest enforcer and pushed. The collar on his neck flashed white. He froze mid-step, blade inches from Kael's face, then turned on the soldier beside him without hesitation. The bay erupted into chaos. Enforcers attacking each other, weapons clashing, sparks spraying across the walls. Kael's eyes widened. You're controlling them. I'm not controlling, Elara said, her voice strange even to herself. I'm rewriting. The warden didn't move, didn't even flinch as its soldiers fell. You feel it, don't you? It said, softly. The order in their minds, the silence. That's the network accepting you. Elara's pulse hammered. Every push she made rippled further, linking more callers, pulling more soldiers into her grasp. It was intoxicating, like holding the threads of a massive living machine. But Kael's voice cut through it. Elara, the more you connect, the more it connects back. It's not just listening to you, it's learning you. He was right. She could feel the network watching her, mapping her thoughts, tracing her fears. And in the center of it all was the warden, untouched, waiting. Floor shuddered beneath their feet. The ship itself was changing. Heavy blast doors began to slide down in the distance, sealing sections off. Time was running out. The warden stepped forward, finally drawing its blade again. You could end this fight in seconds, it said. But you know you won't. You like the power too much to destroy it. Elara's grip tightened on the network's threads. Maybe I just don't like you? She pushed harder. The collars around them flared like stars, and every enforcer still standing dropped to their knees. Even the ship's systems flickered. Lights stuttering, engines whining in protest. Kael seized the moment. Now, use it to blow the core. Take the whole collar network down. But the warden's voice slid into her mind, cold and certain. If you do that, the minds we've taken will vanish forever. Your people will die in silence. She froze. Two paths burned in her head. Kael's desperate plea to end it all, and the warden's tempting promise to keep them alive, even if it meant leaving the network intact. The blast doors were almost shut. She had seconds. Then she made her move. Her will slammed into the network like a hammer, not destroying, not surrendering, but rewriting. The code twisted under her command, the red crystals turning a deep, defiant blue. Every caller on the ship went dead, but the minds inside them remained. The warden staggered, its mask sparking. Impossible. Elara stepped toward it, every light in the bay bending toward her as if drawn. You said I was a bridge. You forgot bridges can collapse and take both sides with them. She reached for the warden's collar, and that was when the floor exploded. Asterisk escape and promise the floor erupted in a blinding wave of fire and metal. The blast hurled Elara backward, slamming her into the wall. The air filled with smoke, burning, ozone, and the scream of tearing steel. Kael's voice cut through the chaos. "Elara, move!" She blinked through the haze. The maintenance bay was a wreck, twisted beams, shattered panels, the warden's white armor scorched and cracked. The giant was still standing, but barely. Its collar flickered, sputtering like a dying star. The ship groaned beneath them, tilting hard to one side. Emergency klaxons blared, and the deck's lighting turned an ominous black and red. They didn't have minutes anymore. They had seconds. Kael grabbed her arm, dragging her toward a side hatch. The blast breached the lower decks, cores going critical. Behind them, the warden's voice rang out, not from its mask, but from every speaker in the ship. "This is not the end, Elara. We are linked now, wherever you go. I will find you." A shiver slid down her spine. She didn't answer. She couldn't, because part of her wanted to know what would happen if it did find her again. The corridor beyond was a nightmare. Fire roaring from ruptured pipes, loose cables, snapping like whips, gravity failing in fits and jerks. Kael led the way through a narrow maintenance tunnel, their boots thudding on metal as the world shook around them. They reached a hangar bay, its massive doors half open to the stars. A few battered escape pods were still docked, their hulls scorched and dented. Kael yanked one's hatch open and shoved her inside. "Strap in," he said, already working the controls. "Once the core blows, the shockwave will—" A sudden clang hit the pod's hull. Elara spun toward the sound and froze. The Prime Warden was on the pod. Its armor was fractured, black fluid leaking from deep cracks, but its presence was still suffocating. It slammed a clawed hand against the canopy glass, and for a moment she swore the world went silent. "You cannot run from yourself," the voice echoed in her mind. "You carry me now." Alara's fingers dug into the straps. "Then, you'd better hope I never decide to kill you." Kael slammed the launch button. The pod shot from the hangar like a bullet, the stars smearing into streaks. Behind them, the prison ship was a burning skeleton, its spine breaking apart. A blinding flash tore through space, the core's final scream, and then nothing but drifting debris. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Kael broke the silence. "That wasn't a victory." "I know," she said quietly. "You're not the same, Elara. I can see it in your eyes." She looked out at the endless black, the faint pull of the network still humming in the back of her mind. "I'm not supposed to be the same." Kael's voice was wary. "What are you going to do now?" Her gaze hardened, fixed on the stars ahead. "Find the rest of the callers. Rewrite them, one by one. And the warden?" he asked. She allowed herself the smallest smile. "Let it come." The pod drifted deeper into the void, two humans against the galaxy. But somewhere, in the cold dark between stars, a spark of blue light flickered and watched.